Okay, this is my first time videoing a full dynamic effort bench press session for you guys. So I'm showing you a warm-up first. You'll notice I get my setup tight, very similar to my max effort bench. And watch how fast this goes. This is what speed benching is. Your dynamic effort bench should be very fast and very explosive. So this is my first set. Again, you'll notice my setup. And for those asking, yes, my ass is on the bench. It is making contact. It's just that my glutes are that big, so it may look like it's not actually making contact, but it is. Now, I do a slow eccentric on the first rep because I cannot get myself to drop the bar at free fall speed no matter how much I try. So I just do a slow eccentric rep and then I let it drop on the next two. But I did 10 sets of 3 on this. Now, it might also look like I'm bouncing off my chest to some people, but if you look at the video, I'm actually not. I'm reversing at the bottom. What you want to do for speed benching is you want to let the bands pull the bar down really fast on the eccentric, and you let it get a lot of speed on the way down, and then you try to reverse it about 1 inch off the chest so that it barely touches the chest, and then you reverse so that you're not really hitting the chest as hard as you might think it is. Another thing that you'll note is my grip width. I grip fairly narrow when I'm in training like this. I don't use a competition grip. My hands are inside the rings. I would say just the edge of my palm is touching the ring. So I use a relatively narrow grip, not that far from a close grip bench press during my training. And as most of you guys have seen, when I turn to the side, my chest size doesn't suffer for it. I still have no trouble using the bench press as my primary pec builder. The bench press and the military press. And for people who don't know what I'm doing, I've got multiple videos out on dynamic effort work. You can easily sort through my list. You can search for them using the search engine, or you can find information on dynamic effort training in general, but I've covered this a lot. So for those who don't really understand what I'm doing, I have other material available for you guys. And this is pretty straightforward. This might get kind of boring because I'm doing 10 sets that you guys are sitting here watching through. But you'll notice I try to replicate my setup perfect on every single one. The thing is, you're trying to replicate, even on speed work like this, the technique that you would use for your max effort work. So I use an arch, I use leg drive, I keep the elbows tucked, and you'll notice when I get to the bottom, the elbows are tucked completely, and then they flare out on the way up. As you get about halfway up to the lockout, you want your elbows to start turning out. So when you actually lock out, your elbows flare, but for shoulder protection and maximum power out of the bottom, you always want them to be tucked. So you'll notice as I'm coming down, the elbows come in on the way down, and then they turn out on the way up, even when I'm doing speed work. And it's something you just have to get into the habit of doing if you want to do a power bench, or if you even want to build your chest up using a bench press as one of your main lifts while protecting your shoulder joints and your rotator cuffs. All right, up next for my first accessory, I went with the military press. I'm not really going as heavy as I possibly can today, just getting some good triples in. This one is still a ramp up set. I could probably do 8 to 10 reps with the weight I have on there because that's around 155 pounds. And then I did 2 triples with 80 kilos. Now you'll notice that I use a false grip on this, and I use a very narrow grip. I'm shoulder width. I'm pretty much at a close grip bench press. And you'll notice at the bottom that my elbows are completely tucked. My elbows are pointed forward at the bottom, and I come all the way down to my chest on a military press. And this is one of the reasons that guys like me who use this lift can use it to build their upper chest, and we don't need incline work because we're replicating the incline work by bringing the bar all the way to the chest. And the elbow and hand position protects the shoulders while you're doing this. All right, up next I have pin lay rows. I didn't do a lot of volume on these, again, because I did speed pulls yesterday, so my back got a lot of work between that and all of the good mornings I did. And you'll notice again, I'm using bands on these this time, like I did in the video the other day, the last one I put out. So this is actually very, very heavy at the top. This is well over 130 kilos by the time it hits my chest. You'll also note I use a relatively narrow grip, and that I do hit my chest. You may not be able to tell from behind, but I hit the chest with the bar every time, and I try to touch the same spot on my chest to where I touch it on a bench press, because I use the pin lay row not just as a mass builder, but as a bench press accessory. And I ended up doing 4 total sets of 3 on this, and only 3 of them at the heaviest weight. And then I called it quits on this and went back to pressing. And up next I have the decline close grip bench press. And if you're one of those people who really struggle to get ideal tricep activation, it feels like your front delts take over a little bit on the close grip bench press, you may want to consider trying it on a slight decline. You don't want a really, really steep one, but it can remove the front delts a bit and let you recruit the triceps quite a bit more. And notice the same thing, my scapular retracted, and a lot of people mess up the close grip bench press. They grip it way too narrow, and then they end up having wrist problems, elbow problems, and all sorts of problems. The close grip bench press should be about shoulder width, a little narrower. You want your hands to be able to clear your rib cage. And I grab it right on the edge of the smooth. And that's my standard close grip. And I know this looks like it's moving relatively slow. I'm not happy with the speed on these, but I just don't seem to have a lot of ability to lift explosively this far into the routine. So it's not going very fast, but I am still pretty strong on these. So I've got, for these final two sets, I've got 125 kilos on there. So it's not too shabby. So even though I don't have a lot of power left, I seem to have a lot of strength left. This final set, though, coming up right here, this one was really hard. I almost was worried that I wasn't going to lock this third rep. You can't really tell in the video, but me under it, I was definitely having to push really, really hard to lock this one out. Even though in the video it looks like it's going up really smooth, this last one was a grinder for me. It was quite difficult.
That motorbike's not doing your hands and wrists much good, is it?
And last I have barbell curls. And I always get a laugh because of so many people who comment in videos about how terrible my biceps are, and they'll mention me being a power lifter. And this is actually one of the few muscle groups that I actually train with high reps every single time I'm in the gym. So it's kind of ironic that my worst body part happens to be one of the few that I actually train in a way that a bodybuilder would approve of. And hold on, let me give you guys a bicep shot. And I do 2 more sets of 10 with the same weight, and I end up calling it quits. I didn't do any rear delt work today because I was really tired, and I'll probably do a bit of it later this afternoon, and maybe this weekend I'll do some rear delt work. And I'm going to have to take a deload next week. I might make a video tomorrow discussing why I need a deload, and I'll discuss deloads further for you guys. But overall, I was really happy with this session, which is normal because on a dynamic effort session, nothing should be to failure. You should not fail a lift, even if you're going to do 3-rep accessory work after. You'll always use a weight that you can handle for all your reps. You do not want to fail anything on dynamic effort work. It's all about speed and power. It's not about max effort. But that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope you guys enjoyed the workout, and I hope you learned a few things observing what I'm doing. And I will talk to you guys next time.